let's see how this works out, okay? I'm gonna try to counter all your comments here and do it while showing everything that you said. We'll see how this works out. Tagged you in the video I just made because I made the argument quite well.
You know, I truly love how you thought that you said something new in your video. You didn't. I've been debating pro-birthers since I was 19 and I'm 34 now. You said nothing new. So let me debunk all your crap.
Firstly, I didn't think that I said anything new. I just thought I made a good argument. Secondly, pro-choice men are cringe AF. Just an FYI. Let's move on, shall we?
I do not live in a society where we value human life in every single circumstance. You know how I know this? Because in the country that you and I live in, 27 out of the 50 states still have the death penalty. That's not valuing human life, is it?
Personally, I'm conflicted about the death penalty. So when it comes to having this argument with me, that is not a good argument to use. Typically, when somebody is sentenced to the death penalty, it's because they did something so horrific or they just can't be reformed. A newborn baby in the womb hasn't even had a choice. They haven't done anything. They didn't even choose to be created, for crying out loud. So you can't really equate the two. And there is a such thing as an eye for an eye. So if somebody is inflicting harm on another person and they can't show that they're willing to, change or do better than, or keep continuously doing that same act, maybe it's better to and move on. Regardless, I am not the strongest advocate for the unalive penalty because the legal system is really corrupt. So you're kind of arguing with the wrong person when it comes to that aspect. Just an FYI. Moving on.
We don't lock people up for murder when they unalive someone in self-defense.
Of course we don't. In those cases, somebody is defending their own lives and in some cases, the lives of their own family members. They're protecting themselves and their family members from somebody else trying to cause vicious harm to them and or other people they love. So yes, there is a value for human life there. If there is somebody who is trying to cause bodily harm and or worse to somebody else, of course they should have the right to take whatever precautions they need to protect themselves and their loved ones. So yes, that is valuing human life. You're welcome. Why would I prefer to have somebody who is willing to cause bodily harm to somebody else for whatever reason whatsoever just because over somebody who is willing to protect themselves and their loved ones over such a situation? Still, yes, it is a respect, it is a love for human life. Next.
Last time I checked, we don't put people in jail for murder when they take their loved ones off life support.
Of course we don't. Typically, when somebody is on life support and they have zero brain activity, they're not going to come back to the world, it seems just a little bit more cruel to have them hold on when there's no chance or barely any chance that they could even come back to begin with. It uses up valuable time, resources, and money. If somebody is not going to be able to consciously come back to us, then why keep them alive artificially? There's really no point to it. That seems more inhumane than anything else. Next.
You want to talk about morals that are agreed upon by society? The last time I checked, we live in a society where you are not allowed to violate someone's bodily autonomy without their ongoing consent.
That actually depends. Bodily autonomy is limited to many different things, and consent should be as well. I don't give my body consent to have a freaking period every month. Does that stop it from happening? No, my body just does what it does naturally. If I wasn't taking precautions and I just let my husband blast it in me every night, what my body would do naturally and what his little spermies would do would be create another human life. That's just nature, how it works. Whether a woman gives consent to that happening or not, that is just a natural bodily thing that we do. Man, pro-choice men are so cringe. You're like the pick-me's for feminism, I swear. But let's move on.
Even if I were to agree with you that that little human embryo at the moment of conception deserves the same legal rights as you and me, I don't. But for the sake of argument, let's say I did agree with you. Abortion would still need to be legal. Because again, we live in a society where you are not allowed to live off someone's internal bodily resources without their ongoing consent. Let me put it for you in a way you can understand. If a newborn baby that is only 10 days old does not have the right to continue its existence on this planet by using their parents' blood or internal organs against their will, then that little tiny embryo doesn't get that right either. I hope this helps.
Well, at least once the baby's born, they can take whatever tissue, blood for a mom or dad to help that baby survive. It's not just left to the mother, now is it? That all being said, there are other outside factors that could contribute and help with a situation like that. You don't necessarily need to depend on the parents once the baby is out and once the baby is viable outside the womb. Everything that you said was just an excuse for women to be able to unalive their unborn offspring in the womb. And it's disgusting, especially coming from a man. I'm sure this is gonna come out all fucked up, but I really don't care. I know I'm right and you're wrong. You might have been debating this topic since you were 19 and you're 34 now, but I used to be pro-choice up until I was about 33 and I'm almost 40 now, and my mind has changed completely ever since then. If you would like to have a conversation where we bring up one topic at a time and we are able to go through that properly, then I am more for it. All for it, whatever. Doing it like this is extremely time consuming and it's difficult to do. So, yeah, if you want to have a conversation, I'm more than happy to have one. Name a time and, whatever else, where we can have a conversation, maybe even face to face. How about that?